I'm Craig Fisher, and this is Inside Talent, where we take you into the minds behind the scenes and show you some of the coolest tools and best practices of some of the coolest people in the talent industry. Hey, it's Craig Fisher, and I'm here with my colleague, Carrie Corcoran. She and I have been working with our TalentNet media customer that we just wrapped up with last week, and we're having a little post-mortem discussion about the project. And Carrie, great to have you here. How you doing?
Excellent. Glad
All
to
right.
be here. Thanks.
Let's talk about this. We did a fun project with Accenture and their RPO division for Ross stores. Accenture is working to help fulfill jobs in their distribution centers. And we were brought in to help add some funnel marketing activity to drive applicants for these regional distribution centers. We had a lot of focus on one in Pennsylvania, which is a tricky place. There are how many, Carrie, distribution centers there?
96 distribution and warehouse centers in central Pennsylvania. So definitely a lot of competition.
A lot of competition. And as is happening during this weird time in spring of 2021, Indeed is not yielding a ton of results for some of these locations and is not really driving applications and is really tough. So what Ross was doing was centralizing their recruitment for these locations and cutting off their spend on agencies regionally, which had formerly supported these efforts. And it just was sort of becoming a zero-sum game. They weren't getting the results there, still spending a lot of money. They're throwing money in after dollar at Indeed. It's not really working. And so we were asked to kind of take a look at the full process, spot the fails, suggest the fixes, and we found some interesting things, I would say.
Yeah, we absolutely did. I think they were really thinking small with the traditional job boards that everybody uses, Indeed, Glassdoor, and sometimes even LinkedIn. And as we know, that just does not cut it in today's job climate. So we looked at different ways to amplify and fill that funnel for them even more by looking at different tools and technology and vendors and what we could do to help them attract more candidates and even shorten the process for them.
Right. So speed is everything right now. These candidates don't necessarily need a job. A lot of them are getting stimulus checks, and it's kind of a nationwide thing right now. We're not getting the applicants for a lot of these jobs. And so we've got this weird upside down market. And so, what we do first in every situation is an audit of the situation. And so, Carrie, talk a little bit about what we did to assess what was going on there.
Sure. So in the competitive analysis, really looked at their top competitors within each one of those distribution center markets and looked at their presence, their social media presence, their marketing, their job descriptions, and what they were doing to attract talent against what Ross was doing, and really looking at the different ways that those companies were putting themselves out there and what could we glean from that, where we could add value in helping fill the funnel and things that they could do differently to present themselves out in the market and engage more candidates.
Yeah, and so we had to put ourselves in the candidate's shoes, basically, and
went through the application process ourselves. Yes.
Yep. In multiple iterations for various different types of roles, and we looked at all the messaging and the communication, how long everything took for responses and replies. Very often companies don't have any idea about what happens between a job being put into their applicant tracking system and when a candidate is hired, right? They think they know the steps, but there are um, a couple of hundred steps and not
Mhm.
the 4 or 5 things that most companies focus on.
I know it took me at least 35 minutes to fill out the job application
Just the
and
job application, right?
just the job application.
Yeah. And so we spot fixed with some native and quick applies in certain places. We made sure that jobs were showing up in the Facebook marketplace. And we partnered with some cool tech to kind of make that happen. So, one of the things that we get to do is where we go out and understand the marketplace for vendors, know who the vendors are, know the people at the vendors, understand what the technology is and how it could actually be the appropriate application or fix for that specific scenario. And there's no silver bullet, Carrie. It seems like one size doesn't fit all in these situations.
No, it doesn't. It definitely seems like some are definitely more willing and able to work on the customer service side of it to make sure that the technology is implemented properly and actually functioning.
We learn a lot when we do this because every situation is different. We don't get to work on the same regions, even if we're working within the same industry each time. And there are regional differences as well. There are niche job boards and lots of them. And so, we got one of the companies that enables niche job boards to cater to these applicants, and that also worked. Overall, we were able to show a 1,400% increase in applicants just by flicking a few levers, emphasizing with the customer the need for speed and good communication, adjusting the messaging and the timing of the messages, and even the job descriptions and job titles themselves. And wildly successful, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing that we educated them on is that they need to be where their candidates are. And a prime example of that is Facebook and Facebook Marketplace. And they were not using that as a lever to attract candidates. And that is what we did for that 1,400% increase, which is just incredible.
Yeah, and one of the things about this is mindset. We're actually seeing this with another one of our customers right now that's in healthcare, and they go with these old assumptions that corporate and corporate marketing doesn't want to advertise jobs, or they don't want to cross pollinate jobs for warehouses and stores, or they don't want to cross pollinate careers with the brand. And sometimes it just takes a little eye-opening data and comparison to build the case that, hey, you know what? Without the stores and without the warehouse, there is no brand. And potentially we probably should turn on that jobs tab in Facebook, get those jobs in the marketplace, adjust the very long application process to possibly put that piece at the end of the process instead of at the very beginning, because the drop-off rates were terrible. And now we've got some automation in play to bring people back, make sure that they get through the process. It's just a short process up front, and seems to be working wonders.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have worked on that project and help them elevate their game and help them fill their funnel and attract more talent. It's exciting to actually see a project like this come to fruition and then see those results that they're getting.
Well, and now just this week they've asked us back to do some more, so I think we're doing
Right.
something right. Yeah. And then between that and literally designing posters and flyers and postcards and banners and feather flags and you name it, and getting them ordered and shipped. This has been a really successful project. So thank you, Carrie, for being such a big part of it.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. And thank you for allowing me to be part of it. That was a really exciting project to work on, and really enjoyed creating the roadmap and setting them up for success once they hire their recruitment marketing lead, who's going to come over and take over the project. And they should be very, very successful with that as well.
Very well set up. Kudos and thanks to the Accenture team that was amazing to work with on this project, and to the Ross team who had open minds and a willingness for change and a great attitude about the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And cheers to more change to come.
Right. All right, Carrie, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Inside Talent. Learn more about the future of talent today at insidetalent.org, where you can sign up for regular updates, and you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast app.